This conference will now be recorded.
In yesterday's session, we were discussing about what is network, what is VPC, what are the components of VPC, what is subnet, what is IGW. We theoretically discussed. So, as I already told, while creating a VPC, we need to define the VPC range, that is network range, in the form of what? Basically, while creating a VPC, we have to define IP address range in the form of CIDR. CIDR, classless inter-domain routing. It's a method for allocating IP addresses and its routing. So again, if you observe the default VPC, whatever we have, it is also defined using some range. It is also defined using some range. If you see, this is the default VPC in the form of CIDR. This is the range, right? So this is IPv4, IPv4 or 32-bit, or we call it as a 32-bit IP addresses. 32-bit IP addresses. Okay. Now, before I discuss about this CIDR, first we need to understand the types of IP addresses. If anyone from network background, you might be already aware about type A, type B, type C IP addresses, right? So type A, the types of IP addresses, if you see, IP classes, or we can say IP addresses types, right? If you say class A, class B, class C, class D IP addresses like this. So this is basically a networking concept, right? So the ranges, if you see, whatever IP starting from this range, right? Class A, which will start from 0.0 to 127, we call it as class A. If you see, this one start from 1A, sorry, class A. Now similarly, we have a class B, class C. First of all, what is IP address? As I already told, each system in the world, or each computer or each device in the world will have some IP address for communication, right? So there are different type of classifications. If you see, whatever starting from 1 to 226 falls under which category? I mean to say 1.0.0.0 till 126.255.255.255. So this falls under which one? Class A. Similarly, if you see 128 to 191, this falls under which one? 128.0.0.0 till 191.255.255.255 is falls under class B. Similarly, we have a class C. Class C, if you see 192.0.0 something like this, 192.0.0.0 something like this, till how much? 223.255.255.255 falls under class C. Similarly, we have a class D, class E and all, but these are not used for our purpose. If you see, class A will be used for very large number of very big networks, very huge networks where you need a lot of servers. Medium size network, local networks, we can use this class C. This we will not use for our while creating a networks. Now, if you see this, we call it as a 32-bit IP address, which means in each here we have a 4-bit. This is 4 dots, right? So in each dot, how many bits we will be having? 8-bit. So if you see in this 8-bit, in this 8-bit, in this 8-bit, so we will have a 32-bit IP address. And if you see what is the last number in each bit, I mean to say what is the last number in each bit? 255. So if you take any IP addresses, right, either it will fall under class A, class B, or class C. Now, while creating a network, can I take any IP in this range like this? While creating a private network, while creating a VPC or private network, your own network, can I take like this any IP, something like this in this range, something like this? No. So why we should not take any IP like this while creating a VPC or while creating a private networks, right? Internet, that ISP, internet www dot has defined or has reserved some IPs in each classes only for private networks. In each classes, class A, class B, class C, there are some standards defined by internet. They reserved only few IPs for private networks. We can, the best practice is you have to use only within that range, you have to use your private IP network. If you see here, there is a concept or there is a standard called RFC 1918 addresses. RFC 1918 addresses. So these are standards defined by internet, because nowadays, like we are already running out of IP addresses. We are already running out of IP addresses, right? So long back, internet itself defined some standards by thinking, by forecasting the growth of IT. So they reserved some IPs for private networks. So this RFC 1918 addresses is an IP address that is assigned by enterprise organization in an internal host, which means only private networks. These IPs are reserved only for private networks. So these IPs are used in private networks which are not available or reachable from the internet, which means this is in class A, they reserved for private network. This is which class? In which class they reserved these ranges only for private network? This one, 172, class B. In class C, this range. These ranges are defined only for private networks. These are not reachable from internet, which means any server in the world will have a public IP in this range. Any server in the world, any laptop, any router, any system in the world will have a public IP in this range? No. So these are reserved only for, these IPs are reserved only for private networks. Sometimes in the interview also they are asking, by looking at IP address, how can you say whether it's a public IP or private IP? Sometimes in the interviews they are asking, by looking at IP address, how can you say whether it's a private IP or public IP? How can I say whether it's a public IP or private IP? If that IP is in this range or in this range or in this range, can I confirm that it's a private IP? Without any doubt, you can confirm that it's a private IP, because these ranges are defined are reserved only for private networks, only for private networks, private IPs. So these IPs are not available or reachable from the internet, which means by using this IP, can I reach any server from the internet? No, because this is not available or routable in internet. So why this has become, this is have reserved, because one of the basic requirement for internet is, right? Suppose I need to access any server in the internet. Does it requires one unique IP address? Each server, if you want to access, do we need to have one unique IP address for each server or each device? Yes. So this RFC 1918 removes that requirement. So these RFC 1918 IP address can be used on multiple networks, which means can I have these IPs used for multiple networks, private networks, which means can I create one network with this range, and also can we have same range used for other network, private networks? I mean to say, can we have multiple servers with same private IP in different networks? With same private IP, can I have a multiple networks but in a different networks? Can I have a multiple servers with same private IP in a different networks? Yes. So private IPs can be reused in any multiple networks. Because of that, can I have a thousands or lakhs of networks in the world, private networks with these IPs can be reused, private networks? Yes. Because of this one, do we have, are we running out of IPs for our servers in the internet? Are we running out of servers in the internet because of this RFC 1918? No. So, but if I want to reach those private IPs, do I need a public IP in the router at least? Suppose I have a router. If only that router has a public IP, can I go to the router and router will forward the traffic to that private IP within that network? Reverse. Your server also want to communicate with internet. So there is a one more concept called a NAT here. NAT here, because your server doesn't have a public IP. If your server doesn't have a public IP, will it able to talk to the internet? If your private server want to talk to the internet, there is no public IP. Will it able to talk to the internet? No. So there is a technology called NAT here. There is a technology called NAT here. Network address translation is a technology that makes RFC 1918 IP addresses to be reached to the internet using this NAT server or NAT device, we call it. So RFC 1918 is a standard defined for using the IPs for private networks. So if you see, RFC was drafted in 1996 itself. So RFC has been defined, the standards has been defined in the 1996 itself to become, to don't run out of the IP addresses, right? So RFC 1918 addresses, they are reserved in each classes. This is reserved for class A, this is reserved for class B, this is reserved for class C. Now, if our IP, whatever IP I see, if this is in this range, that is private IP. How can I say whether it's a public IP? Someone was asking. By looking at that IP, how can I say whether that is a public IP or private IP? Any IP which falls under this range, can I call that as a private IP? Any IP which falls under this range, can I call that as a private IP? Yes. Any IP which is out of this range, can I call that as a public IP? Yes. Just to make it simple, you have these servers. You already have these servers. You already have these servers, lot of servers. Lot of servers we already have here. Forget about here. I am giving this IP address to you. I am giving that IP address to you. This IP. Is it a public IP, private IP? How can you say? How can you say? How can you say that based on what? If you see this one, these three are reserved for private. RFC 1918 addresses. We call it as a RFC 1918 addresses. These are reserved for private network. Now, if you see this one, if you see, is it falling under this category? Which means any IP 172.16.0.0 to till 172.16.255.255 like this, till how much? Till how much? We can use 17, like 18. If you see, this is second bit 16 to 31, like this till 31, till 31, this range. Now by looking at this, is it falling under this one? I mean to say this one, 172.31.32.108. So is it a RFC range? Is it within RFC 1918 range, this IP? So can I confirm this is a private IP? Any server you take in the world, the public IP will not be in this range. Now, if you see any IP you take, public IP, this 3.1, not 111, is it under RFC? Is it under RFC range in these three ranges? Whatever I have defined here. It's a class A only, but is it a private range in class A? Is this in a private IP range? No. You take any server, this one, by if I give like this, is it a public IP, private IP? By looking at this, how can you say, can you confirm whether it's a public or private? Public. You take any server, this 65.1.0. This one, is it under this ranges, whatever has been listed here? No. So any IP you take, by looking at this, you can confirm RFC 1918 addresses are private IPs. Now, while creating a networks, I need to define the network range in the form of CIDR. Is it a best practice to define something like this, guys? Can I take something like this? My network range, private IP. Is it recommended to define your private IP range like this when you are creating any network? When you are creating any network like this, is it a best practice to define your private IP range like this? No. Why? Because is it falls under RFC 1918 range? No. So with this range, within this range, do we have some servers with public IPs in the internet? With this range, do we have some servers anywhere? Do we have some servers? Is it possible that some server has public IP in this range? Because it is not falls under RFC. So we will have. So do we have a conflict? in the network, like whether it's a public area or private IP. So is it have a problem of reaching? It is like one person or like two persons having a same Aadhaar number. It's like a two persons having a same Aadhaar number. So is it possible for me to identify this is for which guy, this is for which guy, like that? So that's why it is not a best practice to take like this. All these things will be taken care by network administrators, but just to give an overview, while creating a networks, what needs to be considered? While creating a VPC, now I am creating a VPC. Can I take my VPC CIDR like this? 100.0.0 something like this, or like this, anything. It has to be within this, which means if it is very big network, can I take like this 0.0 slash 16 or like this till 255, right? Otherwise, can I take like this? Can I take like this 172.16.0.0 slash 16? Is it a valid private IP range for creating a private network? Can I take like this also if required? Can I take like this also if required? Is all these are allowed? Till how much it is allowed? Till 31. So I can take this one, or I can take this one, or I can take this one, or this one till 31. But is it recommended to take like this private IP? Something like this? No. It has to be in this range. Okay. Now, that is very, very important. These are reserved only for private networks. Now, if you see, while creating VPC, we are defining network range in the form of CIDR. What this represents? This after slash, what this represents? We have 24, we have 28 like this, or 26 like this. This is, we call it as a block, cider block, or subnet mask. Now, it's a 32 bit. It's a 32 bit. So 0 to 32. But while creating a VPC in AWS, can I give something like this 0, 2, 4, 6 or 32? This cider block? No. This cider block, this cider block should be, block should be 16 to 28. 16 to 28 between, which means can I define something like this? Within this range, right? Sorry, within this RFC range, can I define something like this? 0.0.0 slash 32. Is it allowed? No. Is this allowed? Slash 28? Yes. If it is a slash 28, how many IPs will be available in that network? How many IPs will be available in that network if I give 28? What is the formula? 2 power 32 minus n. So which is 2 power 32 minus 28. So which is 2 power 4. So which is how many IPs will be available for that network? 16. It's very small network. It's very small network. It's very small network. Kind of a home networks. Very less devices. Right? So Let me see what is my laptop private IP. There are a lot of Ethernets available where I can see. So like a small home networks. Suppose I am creating a home within my home. Let's see. That is my private IP address. Let's see. How can I see into Wi-Fi? I can go to Wi-Fi network. Let me go to Wi-Fi, whatever I connected. Let me show you this advanced section. I can see IP addresses. So what is my IP here? If you see my laptop IP, in which range this is my laptop private IP. In which range in IFC? In which range it is? In IFC standards, that are this RFC standards. This is in which range? Class C. So is my laptop private IP is in this range? Like very small networks. So these IPs are reserved for which one? This class C IP addresses are like mainly not reserved. Class C IP addresses will be used in what type of use cases? IP address classes I already told. If you see this class C, kind of a very small network, can be home network also or your office network also. So who is assigning private IP for my laptop? Basically the router. The router is managing all these things. Suppose if I want to create very small network, can I use something like this /28? Maybe in class B range or in class C range, can I use /28? Very small network. How many devices can be part of that network? 16. Now, will I able to have more than 16 devices if this is my network range? No. Now, can I give something like this? 24 also? Is it allowed when I am creating a VPC? This is 16 to 28, not exactly 16. It should be between, I can say, it should be between 16 to 28. So can I have 24 like this? It is not exactly 16 or 28, between 16 to 28. So if this is the range, how many IPs? 2 power 32 minus 24. How many IPs? 2 power 8. 2 power 32 minus 24, 2 power 8. So how many IPs will be available in that network? 256. So how it will be 256? 172.31.0 till how much? 255. Which means the IPs like this: 1, 2, 3, starting from 0. So starting from 0 till how many? 255, like this. Now, if I want to create even bigger networks, I want to have more than these many IPs in my network. So can I go like this? Maybe 22, 20, 22, 20, 16 also like this. If it is a 16, how many IPs? 2 power 16. 2 power 16 is how much? 65,536 IPs. Will I have a very bigger network? In that network, can I have these many devices? That device can be a router, that device can be a server, that device can be a printer. Can I have these many devices in that network if this is my network range? So will I have a more, can I have more servers in this network like this? Yes. So this is the range. Now if this is the range, it will be something like this, guys. It will start like this. Till how much it will go in this bit? In this bit, till how much it will go? Till 255. Till 255. From 0, it will start. Till 255, it will go. So after this is done, like can I will it be like this again? 1.0, like 1.1, like 1 dot till how much? Till how much? 1 dot again 255. Then something like this. 2 dot again 0. With all these permutations and combinations, will I have these many IPs available? All these permutations and combinations, we will have these many. So, sir, actually, who will define this range, or it will be auto-defined in router? I just taken an example of router because you don't know what is what, so that will be taken care by the device in your home. But if you are working in IT, you are creating one network to create your servers. Who is going to define all these things? We need to define. The guy who is creating a network, we have to define the range, the network administrators. But in the home, right, no one knows what is this. So that will be taken care by that device. So there is a lot of things are there, guys, in the networking. DHCP, we call it as a DHCP. So DHCP is one networking concept. This DHCP is responsible for managing IP addresses, dynamic host configuration protocol. So this DHCP full form is dynamic host configuration protocol that will automatically provide IP addresses to the manage. It will manage the IP addresses. There are a lot of things in the networking, but we no need to worry about all those things, guys. So I'm just focusing mainly on while creating a VPC, what needs to be taken care. So while creating a VPC, do I need to define what is the network range of that VPC in the form of CIDR? So that network is, that network range, do I need to again make sure I have to take within this RFC 1918 addresses that is only designed for private IPs? Yes. Again, what is the CIDR block allowed? Whether it's a within this or within this range or within this range, what is the CIDR block it is allowed here? In between 16 to 28. That we call it as a CIDR. As I already discussed yesterday itself, CIDR is a classless interdomain routing. It's a method for allocating IP addresses and its routing. I have already explained what is this, how to calculate all this formula. As I already told here, when you create a VPC, you must specify the CIDR block of that VPC. So within what range it is allowed? That CIDR block should be, as I already told, it should be between 16 to 28. Suppose I have given like this. While creating a VPC, I have given like this 10.0.0.0/24. So is that 10.0.0, is it RFC 1918 address? Can I use that as a private IP? Can I use that as a network range, private IP range? This 10.0.0.0/24 can I use? Because is it falling under this RFC range? Yes. So if I define like this, how many IPs I will get in that network because of this /24? How many IPs I will be getting because of this /24? 256. Right? But again, is all these IPs will be available for our servers, I mean to say, When I create a VPC with this range, can I use complete these 256 IP addresses? Does all these 256 IPs will be available for our use? No. Again, you have something here. In each subnet, 5 IP addresses will be reserved. In each subnet, first 4 and last 1 IP addresses will be reserved by AWS. First 4 and last 1 IP address will be reserved by AWS. For what purpose it will reserve? First 4 and last 1 IP address will be reserved by AWS. If you are from a networking background, you can understand first IP for network address, second IP router. This router also will have IP address. This IP for router, this IP for DNS purpose, this IP for future use, and last IP network broadcasting. This way, in each subnet, first 4 and last 1 IP will be reserved by AWS. Suppose I created a VPC with this range. Within that VPC, I created, let's say, 2 subnets. Let's say two subnets within that VPC. So how many IPs will be actually available? I am creating 2 subnets. Remember, 2 subnets. Here I am saying in each subnet, first 4, last 1. In each subnet, first 4, last 1. And I am creating 2 subnets in that VPC. Then how many IPs will be used? The formula here is total IPs minus 5 into number of subnets in that network. Number of subnets is equals to IPs available. Now, if this is my VPC range, network range, 256 is total IPs minus 5 into number of subnets. Let's say I created 2 subnets. So 5 into what? 5 into what here? 5 into 2. So 256 minus 5 into 2, 10. So which means how many IPs will be actually available for us? 246. Like this. Sometimes they may ask all these questions. How many IPs will be reserved by AWS in each subnet? So I created a VPC with this range and I created 2 subnets. How many IPs will be actually available? Is everyone clear how to calculate total IPs if they have given the range? Sometimes they'll ask, so this is my CIDR range. Can you tell me how many IPs if this is my range? How to calculate how many IPs? 2 power 32 minus n. That n is nothing but this CIDR block. So 2 power 4, 16. Again they will ask, does all these 16 will be available? Even though they don't ask, they don't ask, you can tell. Again, I will be having 16 IPs, but if I create 2 subnets in this one, how many IPs will be actually available for us? Suppose if I create 2 subnets in that VPC, again how many IPs will be actually available? 16 minus 10, 6 IPs. If this is the case, will I able to create more than 6 servers in this network? Will I able to create more than 6 servers in this network? If this is my network range, it's very small network, right? I cannot have more than 6 devices in that network. Okay, sir, even Azure also reserve 5 IPs, yes, because that is networking concept. Definitely 2 IPs will be definitely reserved, one for network broadcasting, another one for router. One for network broadcasting, one for router, remaining based on the implementation. Definitely 2 IPs will be reserved. Any network you take, one for network broadcasting, one for router, remaining 3 based on the implementation of that networking. Now, while creating a network, now I want to create a network. I want to create my own network. Do I need to define while creating a network? Now I am creating my own network here. I am creating a VPC. VPC is nothing but what in AWS? I am in VPC section now. I am in VPC section now. I am creating a VPC. VPC is nothing but what? VPC is nothing but network, private network. Now I'll create one VPC. I'll create one VPC. I'll create one VPC. Let me click on this create VPC. Now, while creating a VPC, here what needs to be given? The name. Let's say I am creating a VPC like this. Flipkart dev VPC like this. Now here, what is this? Without defining this, can I create a VPC like this? What needs to be given here? What is this? CIDR. How big your network? Now, is it possible? Already, my default VPC has this CIDR range. Can I again use same range for this VPC also? As I already told last time, can I have a multiple networks with same private IPs? Is it allowed? Yes. I already have one VPC with this range. Can I have another VPC with same range or overlapping? Overlapping in the sense something like this, not exactly same, but is it overlapping? /24 /28 like this. This is also we can do. Is this allowed? Yes. Sometimes in the interview also they are asking, can we have a multiple networks with same network range, or can we have multiple VPCs with same CIDR range or network range? Is it allowed? Yes, because that is different network, this is different network. That is different network, this is different network. As I already told, can we have a multiple servers with same IP but in two different networks? But in same network, can I have two servers with same IP? No, right? In same network, we cannot use that. But since it is a different network altogether, can I create this network also with same CIDR? Is it allowed? Yes. But one thing here, if I have a two VPCs with same CIDR range or overlapping, is it possible for us to do the VPC peering? Is it possible for us to do the VPC pairing? No. What is the meaning of VPC pairing? Let me tell you. Now this is my this is my VPC. This is another VPC. For both VPCs, I have something like this. So this is one VPC. This one. This is the network range. And I have another VPC. For this VPC also, I am using same range or overlapping, something like this. Now let's say I created a server. Does the server can be something like this? That IP can be something like this, maybe something like this server. Let's say Can I have this server with some IP like this? Private IPs, something like this. Now, here also I am creating some servers. Here also I am creating some server, other network. Is it possible like this? Does this server also have something like this? Because this is different network, this is different network. This is allowed. But here, some server in this network is using this IP to reach 172.31.0.23. It is trying to access something which is running in that server. Now, I want to do the VPC peering. What is the meaning of VPC peering? I want server in this network, want to access the server in other network privately, not via internet. Not via internet, private communication. The server in one network want to access server in another network privately, not via internet. Suppose this server also has the same IP, this server also has the same IP in other network, and this server is trying to reach this 172.31.0.23. Will it have a ambiguity? Does this server will have a ambiguity whether it has to route to this one or whether it has to route to this one? Privately, it has a ambiguity. So if VPC CIDRs are overlapping, is it possible for us to create a VPC peering? Peering in the sense connection between these two networks. I need to connect this network with this network so that I can communicate privately, not via internet. So if I have a VPCs, CIDRs are overlapping between these two, is it possible for me to do the VPC peering, guys? No. But if I don't want to do the VPC pairing, can I have this network also with same range or this network also with same range if you don't have a requirement to do the VPC pairing? Yes. But if I want to do the VPC pairing, can I take different range like this? Maybe 16, 172.16.0.0/24. In that case, does my server will have this IP? Something like this, just to give an example. Is it possible for me to do the VPC pairing now between this network and this network? If I do the VPC pairing, suppose this is trying to reach like this 172.16.0.23. Does this server can access this server privately even though this is in different network? This is in different network. Because of this VPC pairing, the server in this network will it able to reach server in this network because of this VPC pairing? Yes. So this is very important, guys. So if I have to do the VPC pairing, can I do the VPC pairing if the VPC CIDRs are overlapping? No. These type of questions you will get. Now I will demonstrate that VPC pairing also. If I create another VPC with same range, will I able to do the VPC pairing now? No. So that's why I'll take different range. Maybe let me take like this 10.0.0 slash I'm taking 24, or you can take 16 also. If you take 16, very big network, lot of servers you can create in that network. If I take 24, how many servers, how many IPs I am reserving, I am allocating for this network? How many IPs I am allocating? 256. 256. Now this is for VPC. So network, I am creating a only VPC now. With this range, let's say. Now I have a VPC, I have a network. Now can I create a servers in that network instead of default VPC? I created a VPC. Now can I create a servers in that VPC, whatever VPC I created just now? Let me show that. Launch instances, launch instances, any AMI, whatever server, any AMI, any instance type, any instance type. Now here, can I select that VPC, that Flipkart Dev VPC, whatever I created just now? I have just given name as Flipkart Dev VPC. Can I select this VPC? Which means now whatever server I am going to create, if I select this one, is it going to be created in that network instead of this default network? Yes. But if you see, I just have a VPC. Do I have a subnets created in that VPC? Do I have a subnetworks? No. So since I don't have any subnetworks, is it allowing me to proceed further? So do I need to create a subnetworks also in that VPC? I just have a VPC. I don't have a subnets. So I cannot create. So let me go back to VPC again. Can I create a subnets in that VPC? I have only that VPC, this VPC. This is the VPC CIDR. This is the VPC CIDR network range. Now subnets. You may have a question, sir, you already have a subnets. Why again it is saying no subnets? You already have some subnets here. Why it is saying no subnets? Because these subnets, is this subnets created for that VPC, whatever I created just now? These are part of different VPC. Now, how many subnets I have to create? That depends on what? How many subnets I have to create? Now I created a VPC. I created a VPC. Now I created a VPC. Now with that range, I created a VPC. This is my VPC. I have given range like this 10.0.0.0/24. This is my network. Within this network, how many subnets can be created? Max. How many subnets? Maximum subnets. Maximum how many subnets? I am talking about subnets. 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 Max subnets. 200. But this is very small network. This is very small network. I cannot create 200 subnets, right? So I can plan some subnets, maybe two subnets or four subnets, or maybe maximum 8 subnets I can do. Max 8 subnets I can do. I cannot go beyond 8 subnets because this is very small network range. Now while creating a subnet also, do I need to define the network, that subnet CIDR for subnet also? While creating a subnetwork in this network, do I need to define CIDR for this subnet also? Yes. While creating a subnet also, while creating subnet, we have to define CIDR for the subnet. CIDR for the subnet. How big that subnet should be? How big that subnet should be? The most important point to be remembered here is CIDR subnet. Sorry, the subnet CIDR. The subnet CIDR should be subset of VPC CIDR. What does it mean? This is my VPC CIDR. Can I create a subnet with this CIDR? Something like this. One second. Can I create a subnet like this? Subnet CIDR like this? 11.0.0.0 or 172.0.0.0 or 192 dot something like this. Even this is not allowed. This is also not allowed. This is also not allowed. So it should be subset. Can I give something like this? This is my VPC CIDR. This is my VPC CIDR. Can I give a subnet CIDR also like this? Yes, yes. But do I have any IPs available to create another subnet? Because you have this many IPs, you are completely allocating that IPs only for one subnet. Do you have any other IPs available to create another subnet? This is allowed. But can I create one more subnet if I allocate everything like this? Can I create a one more subnet? No. So based on my requirement, can I break this into multiple again like this? If I want to create two subnets, can I give something like this? 10.0.0/25, which means how many IPs I am allocating for this subnet? /25. How many IPs I am allocating for this subnet? In this VPC range, I am allocating /25. How many for this subnet? 128. So does these IPs will be reserved for this subnet till 10.0.0.127 because it is starting from 0. So 0 to 127, how many IPs? 128. Now for another subnet, can I allocate like this? Is this allowed again? /25. Can I give like this? This one and again this one. Why? Because you already allocated this one for this subnet. Again, same IPs can you allocate for this other subnet? No. But can I start like this? Can I allocate like this from 128 like 0.0.0.128/25, which means another 128 10.0.0 from 128 to till 10.0.0.255 255 because it is starting from 0. Nowhere you will see 256. Okay. Now if this is my VPC CIDR, can I create two subnets with this range one subnet, with this range one subnet? But my requirement is I want to create four subnets. I want to create four subnets. Then can I break this again? I don't want to do like this. Can I take 26? 26 in the sense how much? Till how much? 63. It is starting from 0. 63. Can I take from 63 to another 63 to 127? 63 to 127. But if I need one subnet, if I need one subnet with 128 IPs, can I create another subnet like this from 127 to till 255? I mean to say like this 64/25 again, not 65, sorry, 127, 128. So can I give like this three subnets? This one will have 64 IPs. This one will be having 64 IPs. This one will be how much? Remaining 128. But I don't want this one. Can again break this one from 128/26, which means 128 to another 64. So based on my requirement, can I create a subnets like this based on my VPC range? So maximum how many subnets I can create? Because this is very small range, I can create only 8. Because will I able to take beyond this? Can I break like this 29, 30? Is it allowed? Max it is allowed what? Here 28. So I can create maximum 8 subnets if this is the range. But my range is very bigger. Suppose something like this, 16/16. Can I have 200 subnets also if required in this VPC if this is my VPC range? Yes, that is how it works, guys. Now, let me plan 4 subnets. I am planning 4 subnets here. I am planning 4 subnets here. You no need to worry about how to break. There are some online websites available, guys. Online websites available. This is very good website you can use to calculate the subnets. I am giving the link here. Now let's say this is my network address. So my VPC. So I created a VPC like this 10.0.0.0. What is the mask here? Subnet mask I have given for VPC. For my VPC, how much I have given? /24. 24. Now this I can take, but will I able to create more than one subnet if I take this one and I use this one to create a subnet address? Can I create more than one subnet if I take completely this one? No. Now if required, I can break here. Now this one, can I take for one subnet? This one, can I take for another subnet? So 128, 128. Can I take this one for one subnet? Can I take this one for another subnet? Yes. Suppose my requirement, I want to create 4. Can I again break this one? This one for one subnet, this one for another subnet. This one again I can break. Let me join this back. I have braked multiple times. 1 second. So can I take this one for one subnet, this one for another, this one for another, this one for another? So total 4 subnets. 4 subnets. Like this. Or if I want to again break, can I do like this? Which means 8 subnets. 8 subnets. Like this. Like this if you want to break again. But I don't want to break that much. Let me, I'm going to merge like this. So 4 subnets. So this is my VPC CIDR. Can I take this one for one subnet? Can I take this one for another subnet? Like 64 IPs in each subnet based on your requirement. I can create. Now I have a VPC. Let me go to VPC. This VPC. This is the VPC ID. So subnets. If you want to filter, you can filter based on the VPC. So let me filter with this VPC. Do I have any subnets for that VPC? Whatever VPC I have created? No. So I have these subnets, but different VPC. Now can I create a subnet here? Can I click on create subnets and create a subnets? Yes. Guys, if you see for default VPC also, did they define that CIDR for subnets within that VPC range? This is default VPC subnet. This is also default VPC subnet. If you see, is that IPs of that subnet also in the VPC range? If you see here, yes. So similarly, I am going to create a subnet for which VPC? Now, which VPC I can select? I will select this VPC, the Flipkart Dev VPC. Now, here I can give some name. That can be any name, some meaningful name I am going to give. Flipkart Dev VPC. I'm just giving a name as public subnet. But is it actually going to be a public subnet? I'm just giving a name as public subnet. It is not going to be actually become a public subnet. I'm just giving a name. In which availability zone this subnet has to be created? As I already told, Can I create any available, can I select any availability zone? In which one I have to create this subnet? I can select any one. But does this subnet can be created in multiple availability zones? Can this subnet can spread between 1A and 1B? No, only any one. I am selecting 1A. Now here I need to give a CIDR for this subnet. For this subnet, can I give something like this, guys? Something like this. Is it allowed? If I click on create also, is it allowed? No, because what is my VPC CIDR? This is 10.0.0.0/24. Is this subnet CIDR is a subset of that VPC CIDR? No. So I will give within this range. But if I give completely like this, it will allow, but will I able to create another subnet if I'm allocating all this for same subnet? No. So that's why I'm going to break like this. Guys, you can open this link. You can open this link. So this is default value. You update your VPC CIDR here. You take your VPC CIDR. So this is my VPC CIDR. I'm taking here. This is 24. Let me click on update. I can take this one, but I will break. Again, I will break like this. 4. Now, can I take this one for one subnet? Can I take this one for one subnet? Other one for other subnet like this? Do I need to take in the same order, or can I take any one and create this subnet? I can take any one and create a subnet, not only in same order, any one. Now I am taking this one. I am taking this one for this subnet. Now I can create multiple subnets at the same time by clicking on this add new subnet. I am clicking on that add new subnet. I am creating one more subnet. For this subnet, I am giving a name as private subnet. I am giving a name as private subnet. Just a name. Does it mean, does this will become a private subnet? I am just giving name as private, but it is not a private subnet as of now. This also I will create in same 1A. Now I already used this one for one subnet. Can I use same here again? Is it allowed again? No. Overlap. So I will take other one. I'll take this one, the other one for this subnet. Similarly, I'll create a one more subnet, add new subnet. I'm going to create one more subnet, but I can create in 1A also. In same 1A, I can create one more subnet. But as I already told, is it recommended to create all the subnetworks in same availability zone? Because you need to distribute your servers, right, to multiple availability zones. So I'm not going to create one more subnet here. I'm saying public subnet 1B. So this subnet I'll create in 1B. This subnet I'll create in 1B. So in 1A, there are two subnets. As of now, in 1A, I'm creating two subnets. In 1B also, I'm planning to create. In 1B also, I'm planning to create two subnets. So this one I will take for this one. Again, one more subnet that I am naming it as a private subnet, but it is not private as of now. In 1B, let me select 1B. If required, you can create in 1C also, if required. But I have created only in 1A and 1B. Now, do I have any IPs available to create any other subnet now? Do I have any IPs available to create any other subnet? No. So, with 4 subnets, I am creating a VPC. In that VPC, I am creating 4 subnets. 4 subnets are created in that VPC. Now, let me clear all these filters. Now, do I have a 4 subnets for that VPC? This is my VPC. You can take this VPC ID, go to subnets. You can see here itself, this subnet is for which VPC. But if you want to filter, select here, click on VPC, select your VPC ID, this VPC ID. So it is listing 4 subnets. So do I have 4 subnets in this VPC now? With these ranges, 2 in 1A, 2 in 1B. Now, can I create a server now in that VPC, that Flipkart VPC, because that VPC has a subnets. That VPC has a subnets. Can I create a servers now? Yes. Let me show that. Let me take any AMI. Any instance type. Now here, let me back. I clicked it twice. Let me come back. Let me come back. I clicked it twice. So let me come back here. Here, can I select that VPC? That Flipkart VPC now while creating a server. Now, if you see, the moment I select that VPC, can I see these 4 subnets, whatever subnets I have created in that VPC? The moment I select that VPC, can I see these 4 subnets? Now, any subnet I can take. Any subnet I can take. Like this. Public subnet 1A. If you see how many IP addresses are available in that subnet as of now, how many IP addresses are available in that subnet as of now? 59. So why 59? We allocated 64 for each subnet. Why 59? Because as I already told, is 5 IP addresses are reserved by AWS for system use. So that's why 59 is available. Now if I create 10 servers now here like this, then how many IPs will be available in that subnet? Which means if I create 10 servers now, 59 minus again like 10, right? So I am just creating one. I am not creating more, just one server. Now this is, I am selecting this one. Maybe I can select this one, or I can select this one, anyone, selecting this subnet. And if you see, there is a preference here, auto assign public IP. So what is the default preference for this subnet? This auto assign public IP, what is the default preference? Auto assign public IP, what is the default preference? When I select this one, disable, which means if I create a server in this subnet, does public IP will be automatically allocated for this one by default? Public IP, will it be allocated for this server? No. But do I need to explicitly select enable? Do I need to explicitly select enable? If I select this one enable, am I going to get a public IP for that server? Yes. But I don't want to always select like enable, disable, enable, disable. Do I have an option to set the preference for this subnet, which means the moment I select this subnet, this should be enabled. The moment I select this subnet, let's say private subnet, that should be disabled. Is there an option to set the default preferences? This auto assign public IP, yes. Where can I do that? Again, go to your VPC, go to your VPC, your subnets, select your subnet. So I am selecting this the whatever names I have given as public subnet, I am selecting this one, this subnet, actions, here, edit subnet settings. As of now, if you see this auto assign public IP, is it no or yes for this subnet? No. Now, now I am selecting this one, I am selecting this subnet, I am selecting this subnet, the name whatever has been allocated as public. Now I'll go to actions. I'll go to actions, edit subnet settings. I will select enable, enable, enable public IP, this auto assign public IP. And also one more thing, DNS. Something like whenever we are creating a server, are we getting some kind of a internal DNS name, some like EC2-190, some kind of a IP DNS internal. If you need that one also, you can enable this one here. That has to be done in the VPC level also. I will do that. I will not enable here. I am just enabling auto assign public IP. Let me click on save. Similarly, can I do this for whatever one more subnet? I am just giving name as public, which means if I am going to create a servers in this subnet, does that server will get a public IP if I select that default preference? Edit subnet settings. Again, auto assign public IP. Auto assign public IP. I saved this one. If you want to get a kind of a DNS names for the servers in that VPC, go to that VPC, go to that VPC, select that VPC. Here, edit this DNS host names. Click on this edit DNS host names. Let me click on this enable. So the moment I select this DNS host names enable, if I create a servers, let me come back to EC2. If I create a servers, am I going to get a DNS names like this for my servers along with IP addresses? Am I going to get DNS names also like this? This one I'm talking about. This one, these things, these names. Am I going to get because of that option? Yes. Now I have done those preferences. Now let me create a server now. Let me create a server. Now I am selecting this Red Hat AMI. I am selecting this Red Hat AMI. Any instance type. Now the moment I select that VPC, Flipkart VPC, the moment I select that Flipkart VPC, now if you see, I am trying to create a server in this subnet, the whatever name I have given as public subnet 1A. Now do you see, since I changed the preference, is it what is the default preference of that subnet for auto assign public IP? Because I changed enable. Now am I going to get a public IP for this server, whatever server I am creating? Yes. Now let me create a server. You know all these things, whatever we have already done. So I'm giving just a tag as Flipkart Dev VPC. I'm just giving a tag as something like this, public server 1A, just giving tag like this. Security group, port 22 is open. I'm creating a server. I already have a PEM file. Is PEM file is a VPC specific or PEM file is a regional specific? Can I use same PEM file while creating a server in another VPC also? Yes, but it's a regional specific. So I'm creating same, I'm using same PEM file, I'm creating a server. I'm creating a server in that VPC. I'm creating a server in that VPC. So this server, I am creating in another VPC. If you want to see the details, select this server, go to networking. Is that server created in this network? This Flipkart network, Flipkart VPC. If you see here, in which subnet we created? This subnet. If you see the IP, private IP, is that IP in that range, whatever I have allocated for this subnet, for this within this VPC, whatever I have allocated for this subnet, do you see this private IP of that server? So if you see the private IP I created a server in that subnet. Do you see that IP in this range? Within that range 10.0.0/16 is your IP. 10.0.0.19 is within that range, that private IP. Now who assigned public IP? Who is going to assign public IP? The public IP will be assigned by ISP, Internet Service Providers. Internet Service Providers. Now I have a server in that network. That server has a public IP as well as private IP. Now, will I able to reach this server from my laptop? I mean to say from internet. Is this IP will be routable or reachable? Is this IP will be routable or reachable? No. Private IPs, RFC 1918, RFC 1918 IP addresses, will it be routable in the internet? No. Now, I'll take this public IP. I'll take this public IP. Now, let me take this public IP, or let me try to SSH. Let me try to SSH. So, this is using public IP, that public DNS name, or you can use something like this also. SSH, you can use this IP, or this is also basically public IP. It is pointing to that public IP internally. Now let me take this server. Let me try to do SSH from my laptop. From my laptop. My laptop. SSH. First, let me go to that folder where I have a PEM file. So I have a PEM file here. SSH-I, that PEM file. Username is EC2 @ that public IP. Now, am I able to reach this server now? How can I test whether it is whether I can connect to that server on port 22 or not? This is going to be give a timeout after some time. This is going to give a timeout after some time. How can I check whether I can reach that port 22 or not? Can I use telnet also? Can I use telnet? Maybe let me open another tab also. Fine. If I have a telnet, I can use. Otherwise, curl also. curl-v telnet, that IP address, :port 22. Am I able to reach that server from my laptop? Am I able to reach that server on port 22? No. Why? Do you think is firewall is blocking? Do you think is firewall is blocking? Port 22, is it open for everywhere for that server? Yes. Then what is missing? If you understand VPC, whatever I have explained from last 2 days, what is missing still? I have a VPC, I have a subnet, but is my VPC has a IGW, internet gateway, that virtual router, which will enable internet connection? No. So that is not there. But without IGW also, if another server is in same network, that server can internally access this server without IGW, without internet, using private IPs. Other server in the same network, yes. How that is possible? Because if you see the route table, I have not created this default route table. Already there is one route table here. Already there is one route table here for this network. For this Flipkart network, already one route table, that is main route table. But when this route table is created, when that route table is created, I have not created that route table, this default route table for that VPC. For this VPC, there is one route table, main route table. When that is created, when we created a VPC, that time itself it has created. Now, in that route table, if you see destination 0.0.0/24, which means which means I have one server here. That server IP is 10.0.0 maybe 19, let's say. I have another server in same subnet or different subnet. Let's say that server IP is something like this, 78. Now this server is trying to reach this server. Can I call this as a source? Can I call this as a source if this is trying to access something from this? Can I call this as a source? Can I call this as a destination? This as a source, this as a destination. Now if you see, there is already a route table. There is already a route table. There is a route. This is my VPC range, which means any IP in that range. If that is the destination, what is the target? Any IP within this, any IP within that VPC, any IP within that VPC, that is the destination. What is the target here? Local, which means does this server can talk to this server without IGW also, because there is already route, local route, which means intranet. Does this server can talk to this server without IGW also? Yes. But now my laptop, am I able to reach this server? This server now? No, because this is in different network. Now do I need IGW to reach this server? If you see, there is a timeout. Do you see? Operation timed out. Curl also operation timed out. SSH also, do I see operation timed out? It is not able to connect that server on that port. SSH also. Yes, that is because you don't have a IGW. Now can I create IGW in VPC section? IGWs, internet gateways. Now you already have IGWs, but for different VPCs. Let me create IGW. Flipkart dev VPC IGW. I am creating IGW. Now IGW is created, but is it attached to any VPC? What is the state as of now? I just created. Is it attached to any VPC? No. Now let me attach this one. Let me select this, go to actions, attach to VPC. Guys, as I already told many times, whatever I am doing using GUI, can I create a VPC, subnets, IGWs, route tables, even servers also using AWS CLI, using Terraform also if required? Yes. They have given just sample command here. So this AWS CLI command they are giving. Suppose I want to attach to this VPC. If I have a AWS CLI, can I, if I execute this command like this, whatever I am doing using GUI, will it be done using CLI also? It is going to attach that internet gateway with that VPC. You can do this using Terraform also if required, infrastructure as a code. So now I am attaching to this VPC, that IGW I am attaching to this VPC using console. Now I have IGW, but still, will I able to reach on port 22? Will I able to reach on port 22 again on that server? What is missing? What is missing? I have a IGW attached to VPC. What is missing? Route table. Route table. Now let me go to route tables. Let me go to route tables. Now in the main route table, itself, this is the main route table for that VPC. In the main route table itself, if I define the route, in the main route table itself, here in the route section, if I define the route, if destination is 0.0.0, target is IGW, does all the subnets will become public subnets explicitly? Does all the subnets is associated with this IGW already? Yes. If you see explicitly, all these subnets are already associated with IGW explicitly. If I make entry here, does all these subnets will become a public subnets? If I define a route, to the IGW here, does all these subnets will become public subnets? Explicit association is there, all these 4 subnets. So I don't want to do this. So can I create another route table where I can define the route and I will associate whatever subnets is required to be public subnets? Yes. So I will not do any changes in this default route table. If you see the default VPC default route table, this is default VPC default route table. Do they have a IGW target here, route here? Any 0.0.0 destination target is IGW. Does all these subnets of default VPC is explicitly associated with that route table? Because of this, does all these subnets are public subnets in the default VPC? Because of this, all these subnets are public subnets in the default VPC. I don't want that to be happen for this VPC. I don't want to define the route here, that IGW route. So for that reason, I am creating another route table. I am saying something like this: Flipkart naming standards. That is Flipkart Dev VPC public route. This route table you are planning to create in which VPC? This route table is for which VPC? I am selecting this one. Created a route table. So here you can edit here itself, or again you can go back to this route tables. Again you can select this one. So in this route table, can I define that IGW? Can I define the route to the IGW? In this route table, I'll select the routes. Can I click on this edit routes, add route? Now any destination 0.0.0/0, any IP outside of this target, outside of this destination, which means any IP. What is the target now here? What is the target list of options? What I'll select now? I'll select a internet gateway. I already have this internet gateway. I am selecting this one. Save the changes. But still, I attach the IGW and I define the route here, but still I will not able to reach. Because this is not the default route table. Do I need to implicitly associate whatever subnet I want to attach? Because this is not a default or main route table. This is your own route table. So here, do I need to associate by selecting the subnet associations? Do I need to implicitly select edit subnet associations? Select whatever subnets you want to select. Now, if I select these two, even though name is private subnet, will it become a public subnet, guys? If I select these two, even though name is private subnet, will it become public subnets? Even though name is private subnet, will it become a public subnet? Yes, because you are associating. Yes, guys, not no. Because you are associating IGW to the subnet, which means you are connecting internet with your subnet. Even though name is private subnet, you are connecting. If I select these two, even though name is private subnet, will it become a public subnet? The servers in these subnets can be accessible from internet. If I select these two, yes, but I don't want that to happen. I want these two to be a private subnets only. So I am not selecting that one. I am selecting these two. So now, does these two become a public subnets because we are connecting IGW to these subnets, these networks? Yes. So let me select these two, save the association. Now I have a route table. Route table has a route to what? Any destination. What is the target? IGW. In this route table, did I associated these two subnets? with this route table, which means does these two subnets will become public subnets because of route to IGW? Like a road, you are connecting this network, these subnetworks to the IGW. So does these two subnets will become a public subnets? Whatever you have selected here, yes. Now if you see, am I able to reach that server using public IP and port 22 because of that route table and IGW? Yes. Now will I able to SSH also, guys? Because SSH also works on port 22. Will I able to SSH from my laptop? But if the port is blocked, if the firewall is blocked in the server, in that server, if the port 22 is not opened, even though there is a internet, even though there is a public route, will I able to reach that SSH port? If it is blocked, no. Port is open, I am able to SSH. Now, can I call this as a public server? Whatever server I SSH now, can I call this as a public server? Which means the server which has access to the internet, and also we are also able to access. Now, does this server also has internet? Which means does this server also can talk to internet? Something like this. I am just using ping Google. Will I able to install any softwares directly from internet also? Something like this. Directory from internet. Will I able to download and install softwares in this server? Because this server also has internet access. This server also has internet access. This is happening. Now, guys, I'll take another 10 minutes if everyone is fine. If everyone is fine, I'll take another 10 minutes. Because it's a Saturday, I hope no one has any problem. Another 10 minutes I'll take. Now, the way I created server, can I create a servers in private subnets also now? I created a server in public subnet. Can I create a servers in private subnet also now in that VPC, in that network? I can create a server like this. Again, I'm taking Red Hat only. I'm taking Red Hat only. T2.micro or any type, that doesn't matter. Now I'm creating server in this VPC only, Flipkart Dev VPC. I'm explicitly selecting the subnet. I'm explicitly selecting the subnet. Now I am creating a server in private subnet of 1B availability zone. Private subnet of 1B, or that can be in 1A also. Private subnet of 1A also. Private subnet of 1A or private subnet of 1B, that doesn't matter. Now I am selecting a private subnet. That can be 1A or 1B, but it's a private subnet. I am not allocating any public IP. Even though you allocate, that is of no use. Even though you allocate public IP, that is of no use. So I am not allocating public IP for that server. I am creating a private subnet. Server in the private subnet. This is like a private server. This is like a private server, but in any availability zone. Even though port is open for everywhere, now will I able to reach this private server? Will I able to SSH to this private server from my laptop directly? Now the server is created. The server is created. The server is created. This server is in Flipkart VPC in this subnet. This is the private IP. Does that server has public IP? Even though you allocate, that is of no use. That server doesn't have a public IP, only private IP. Now will I able to reach this server? Any software, let it be Jenkins is running in this server, let it be SonarQube running, let it be Docker running, Tomcat running, database, anything, whatever software you installed in this server, will I able to access from internet, from laptop, my laptop, or from internet, or from different networks? I mean to say, from this server also, will I able to reach this server? This server is in different VPC. This is in different VPC. Will I able to access using this IP from this server? Will I able to access whatever software that can be SSH, that can be Tomcat, Jenkins database? No, because this is in different network. This is in different network. But from this server, will I able to reach this server? From this server, will I able to reach this server? Both are in same VPC. Destination, route. Do we have a local route for the destination? Same network. If you want to just prove, let me prove that. Now I am already in this server. I am already in this server. That is public server of that VPC. Now if you see, am I able to reach this server, this server, this server on port 22? From this server, am I able to reach that server? I'm just trying to test something like this. Do you see? From this server, am I able to reach this server? Because both are in same VPC. Both are in same VPC. Now I created 4 subnets like this. Now I created 4 subnets like this. Now let's say this is public server. This is public server. This is public server. This server, this subnet, is it associated with IGW in the route table? We have a route table here. Is this IGW is associated with this subnet in the route table? Yes. Because of that, am I able to reach this server from internet using public IP? This server I can reach using public IP. This is in a private subnet. This subnet is not associated with IGW in the route table. I have a server here. I have a server here. Let's consider this server. Let's consider this server. Now, using private IP from different networks, am I able to reach this server? Am I able to reach this server? No. But does this server can access this server? If you see, already I am doing that. If you see, is this server is able to reach that server on port 22? Because in the route table, do we have a local route? If destination is this, target is local. Without IGW, without internet also, the servers in same network, will they able to communicate with each other? Yes. Now, from internet, from my local laptop, let's say this is my local laptop terminal. This is my local laptop terminal. From here, will I able to reach that server using that private IP? Using that private IP, will I able to reach? Not possible. Because my laptop is in different network, this server is in different network, that server doesn't have a internet access, that server doesn't have a public IP. Am I able to access? That server first of all doesn't have a internet gateway, and that server doesn't have a public IP also. Even though I attach that subnet to the IGW, but still using this private IP, will I able to reach? Even though the subnet is associated with IGW, I can't reach this one. Okay? So this is private. Now, how can I access this server, private server, from my local laptop now? If you through public IP, I don't have a public IP. Through VPN. Through VPN. Just to make it simple, if you are already in IT, guys, you are already working in some company. Office have given one laptop to you. You take your laptop and you are sitting in your office and you connected to office network. You are able to access your applications, your office applications. Same laptop you are taking back to your home, your office laptop. You connected via your home network. Home network. Are you guys able to access whatever applications you are accessing when you are sitting in office? Same application are you guys able to access when you are sitting in home? Same laptop? No. Why? Why? Because network. So when you are connecting from home, are you guys connecting to VPN? Are you guys connecting to VPN when you are connecting from home? When you are working from home, what that VPN is doing? VPN is one software. VPN is one software. You are connecting to VPN servers. You are connecting to VPN servers. If you connect to VPN servers, does your home network also will become part of your office network? If you connect to VPN, you are establishing a private connection, private tunnel. You are creating a private tunnel between your home network and office network via VPN. So if you have a VPN server running, if you have a VPN server running in that network, in this network you have VPN server also. You have VPN server also. So you connected to that VPN server using some client software, VPN client software. Now, does your laptop also becomes part of that network because of VPN? Then will you able to reach this server from your your laptop even though you are sitting in home? Because of this VPN. Because of this VPN, you are able to access. Now, I am not demonstrating any VPN. So I am not installing any VPN software, client software in my laptop. Can I use one more approach? Can I connect to this public server? From public server, can I SSH to private server? If I want to connect to this private server, can I connect to public server? From public server, can I connect to private server? So sometimes in the interview they are asking, what is jump box? What is jump box or what is bastion host? Jump box or jump server or bastion host? Sometimes in the interview they are asking what is jump box, what is bastion host? So can I use this server which is in public subnet, some server in a public subnet to connect to this private servers in that network? Can I use some server in a public subnet in that network to connect to these private servers in that network? Can I jump to this server via this server? I mean to say, can I jump to this server via this server? So can I call this as a jump box or bastion host? I don't have a VPN. I don't have a VPN. I don't have a VPN software, but I have some server. Can I create one server? Can I use that server as a bastion host or jump box to jump to these servers, basically to SSH to these servers or to access something in this server via this server? That we call it as a jump box or bastion host. I cannot SSH from my laptop. Even though I execute SSH-I, even though I have a PEM file, even though I have a PEM file, even though I have a PEM file, will I able to connect from my laptop to that server, the private server using private IP, even the port is opened? Something like this? No, I cannot do this. But from my laptop, guys, if you have a VPN, do I need a jump server to connect to these servers? I mean to say, if I have a VPN, do I need a jump box or bastion host? Not required. Your laptop can be connected to VPN so that you can directly SSH here using private IP. If I have a VPN connected, does this works? If my laptop is connected to VPN, which is part of that network, does this work from my laptop itself directly? Yes. Or you take this laptop and you connect it to your office network, let's say. Will it work again? If your office network is already connected with that AWS network, Now I don't have VPN. So can I use this jump box approach? I am already able to connect to this server, the server which is in public subnet. Now from this server, can I SSH to this server? From my laptop, I connected to this server. From this server, will I able to SSH? Yes. So any server, you no need to install any software. If I have some server here, can I use this? If I am connecting to these servers from this server, can I call this as a jump box or bastion host? Yes. Now here SSH, I am trying to connect to this server. Guys, 2 minutes. I'll just close in 2 minutes. I'll connect to that private server and I'll close the session for today. Because if I take this again Monday, you will miss the flow. Just 5 minutes. Again, I need to explain a lot of things from the beginning because you will miss the flow. That's why I'm just extending 2-3 minutes more. Maybe you might be thinking what Balaji sir is non-stoply he is teaching. When I was joining Bhaskar sir classes, it was like smooth, but this guy is non-stoply teaching only technical, no jokes, no fun. Are you guys thinking like that? Don't think that way. Very interesting subject. Okay. Now let's see that. Now I want to connect to this server, this private server, this private server. Now I am taking this one. I am executing in this public server. Now, what is the problem now? This is my public server. I can call this as a jump box now. From that jump box, I am trying to SSH to the private server. What is the problem here? Is it a problem with connection? Is it a problem with connection? Am I not able to reach that server? Am I not able to reach that server using that IP 422? I am able to reach. But what is the problem? Key, SSH key. So in this server, in that current folder where I am executing this SSH command, do I have that key to connect to this server, SSH to this server? No. So that's why I'm not able to reach. Can I manually create file also? Something like this in the current user home directory. Can I create a manually create a VI using VI also I can create a file. But what content I can copy? Can I go to my local laptop where I have that PEM file? Can I open that PEM file using any editor like Notepad++, Notepad or Notepad++? Can I take the content using that any editor like Notepad, Notepad++? I can take this content. I can have that content here. Don't edit anything. While opening, careful. Don't type anything here. If you corrupt this file, again, it won't work. Don't edit, just copy paste and save this file. Now, again, SSH. Now you know the problem. What is this problem? I have PEM file in this location, but still too wide. Permissions are too wide. Now, if you see, I was in this server. When I executed this command. Now, am I in this server, private server, which means from this public server, am I able to SSH to this private server, this 199? So can I call this as a jump box or bastion host? Without VPN, I am trying to connect. So the server I am connecting to public subnet first from my laptop. From that server, I am connecting to private subnet. Now here, will I have internet access? Does this server can access internet, guys? Let me show you. I'm trying to do this. Google.com. Now am I able to reach internet? No. Will I able to install softwares directly from internet in this server? Now let's consider I want to use this server to install Jenkins. I want to install Tomcat, or I want to install Nexus or SonarCube, or I want to install database. Will I able to install softwares directly from internet in this server? No, because it's a private server. It's a private server. Then how to do the installation? Now you have a private servers. How can you install softwares in private servers? What are the possible ways? What are the possible ways? I'll continue on next class. Okay, because people already lost the interest. People already lost the interest. I see only 38 people today. 90 people were there in the class when I started AWS. It dropped to 40 people now. Guys, these topics are very, very important. You will not realize now. Once you get into a project, once you get into your work, then you will understand the importance why I am stretching this much. Why I am stretching this much? Because these are very, very important topics. How servers are connected? What is network? If there is no network between two servers, will I able to access any service which is running in that server? Sometimes you have a Jenkins, your Jenkins is not able to talk to your application server. Sometimes your Jenkins is not able to talk to Tomcat when you are trying to deploy the application. So do you need to know how to troubleshoot whether it's a problem with SSH, whether it's a problem with firewall, whether it's a problem with network? Do you need to troubleshoot all these things once you get into a job? Without knowing all these things, it is impossible. You can crack the job. You can crack the job. There is no doubt, because you are following the interview questions. You can crack the job, but will you able to manage your work? Will you able to become an expert? This guy is expert in that area. You will get a good name, or will you able to survive? Very difficult. So that's why I'm teaching in depth, guys. Even though this is not DevOps, this is not a AWS networking concept. This is not AWS syllabus. I'm trying to cover in and out of whatever services I'm trying to cover, so that you guys will get benefited. We are trying to cover more than 100% whatever we have committed, but at the same time, I need a support from you guys also. I need a support from you guys also. If you don't attend, if you don't practice, whatever I teach, whether I teach 1 year also, it is going to be like waste only. So that's why I am saying each topic is important. Don't misuse these sessions. Attend these sessions properly. I am here to help you when you are attending. Once the course is done, you might be busy with your work. I might be busy with my work and other trainings. You may lose the interest also. Will you guys able to again? You guys cannot again come to the same flow. So you are in the flow now. Try to attend all the sessions and understand all these topics. Now I want to everyone to create a VPC with whatever subnets I have created. I want you to create a public server, private server, and try to connect to the private server using public server. That is Jumpbox. So how to access internet from this private server, and what is VPC peering, what is NAT, I will explain in Monday class. I thought of completing that also today, but it is not possible. So I'm going to complete in the Monday class. Can we shrink or extend CIDR after creating? No. You cannot shrink, you cannot extend the CIDR once you create it. There is no edit option. There is no edit option. So you cannot shrink or modify CIDR once it is created. Thank you guys. I'll continue on Monday. Try to practice whatever has been discussed so far. Let it be anything like EBS, EFS, VPC. Focus more on the VPC. this week. Try to create a VPC, subnets, play around with that. Nothing is impossible, guys. If you go through these recordings multiple times, maybe you are not able to understand once. If you go through one more time, maybe you can understand. Even though you are a dumb guy, you are very, you are not quick learner. You are not a quick learner, but at least if you go through 2 times or 3 times, can't you able to understand? Even though it is hard subject, if you go through 3 4 times, it is easy to understand. So we are sharing the recordings for revising purpose, but you guys are not using that properly. Go through the recordings multiple times whenever you have a time, so that easily you can understand. This is not a rocket science. You are not launching any new product. You are not developing any new product or any software. You are just going to use the existing software, existing services. It is not that much hard if you practice. Okay, thank you. I'll continue on Monday. From Monday onwards, again, I'll make sure it will not go beyond 9:15. Okay, thank you, guys. See you on Monday. I want everyone to do the VPC.